We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 270. I'm the man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right this week is the scholar in training himself, Mr. Sit, Charlie Marone. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
And sitting beside Mr. Sit is Scholar Tarek, because I'm running out of titles to call him.
Might as well. All
Hi.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 269, dudes, plus one. I wasn't in for the 269 episode, so I kind of have to. I kind of have to bring it up.
Say 69.
69, dudes.
Whoa. And of course, to my left,
You're
At
reigning,
least get that reference.
defending,
Yes.
undisputed.
Apparently, we have more to talk
Scholar
about after
Brian.
the show.
current reigning and defending Scholars Wrestling Champion. How you?
Perfect. Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, that too.
No offense, Brian. You have been perfect once already, so and I have as well.
He's far from perfect.
So we already know you're a strong enough champion.
Why do we have
That's
to
all
use
well and
words?
good. Okay, stop talking.
Welcome to the Scholar's Life, sir.
I'm sorry. How about no? I will not stop talking. How about
How
you
about
stop
you
talking and you come around behind the camera and give me a hug?
You
Or punch
lower
in the
your
face.
voice.
You want to?
I ain't your buddy, guy.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, they are buddy guys, apparently.
Oh,
Hi, Brian, I missed you.
Oh,
I'm sorry I wasn't here last week.
What a Brodak moment.
and
We're-
that's how.
Still need to stop living in the past, but all right.
Even if it works in your favor?
Yes.
Because I acknowledge that you had a perfect score in the past. Because
Yeah,
I'm being fair. I be fair with all of us when it comes to living in the past. So, is that fair? Am I wrong?
I'm just gonna sit here. Get it?
Yes.
I'm gonna sit.
You will just sit here, indeed.
Oh, look,
But you
the
know
Sid
what?
has jokes.
I'll tell
The
you
Sid
what.
thinks he's cute.
I am cute, damn it.
I will
Look at
say,
me.
however, there's a lot to be happy about this week, especially because the Wednesday Night Wars have kicked off in earnest. AEW Dynamite versus NXT. This is the first official week of the Wednesday Night Wars.
I have a question for you, fool.
Yes.
Whenever they just go AEW Dynamite, do you just feel that urge? This AEW Dynamite kick.
Now I'm not going to
Haven't
get
yet,
out of
but
I didn't,
I'm sure
but
in the
it's
future
there
now.
now.
I will.
Dynamite kick.
I
Please,
didn't
for
on
all the
day,
people who actually
but
get that reference.
But come next week,
come
I
next
sure
week,
will.
It's all I'll be thinking about.
AEW Dynamite kick.
As soon as the Jackson,
Need a
as
swigger
soon as
water
the
for
Young
that
Bucks
one.
throw those super kicks.
Dynamite kick. Dynamite kick.
Get on it, Photoshop YouTube community. Anyway, I think it's safe to say we all saw this debut week.
I saw both shows correct.
Yes.
Indeed.
So did I. Now, I do have to say, what was everyone's initial impressions of both shows? What was your viewing experience like? And what ultimately did you think was a better show this week? Who wants to
Champion
go
goes first.
Champion goes first.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
I watched AEW on TV. I watched NXT on my computer. And NXT, to me, was the better wrestling show because they treated it like a mini takeover. So, and takeovers, there's no angles except for the two that you had with the big returns and of Ciampa and Finn Balor, which was a bit of a shock. But
Are you happy with that?
but the more important show was AEW because it's the first episode of AEW. It's the first episode of a brand new brand and company, and it's the first real competition that the WWE has had in years. So, of course, And anyone who thought NXT was going to win the ratings war this week was in denial and is a WWE homer. That's all they are. Okay? AEW was always going to win the first week because it's the new brand, it's the new show, it's the new company. Everybody wants to know what this thing is about. It's going to be the upcoming weeks that are the actual story and of how this war is going. But because of how important it was, yeah, NXT was the better wrestled show because it was basically a mini takeover, and their takeovers are always fantastic. Okay, but the more important show, and that's why I'm going with it being the better show overall, was AEW Dynamite.
Kick.
Dynamite kick. All right, so I guess we're going down the line here. Yeah, I admit I didn't expect to do this going in. I did end up watching more AEW and NXT, although I did end up flipping back in between both shows.
He likes to go both ways.
Hey, don't keep that quiet.
Don't keep that quiet.
Yeah, you heard me.
You heard
Put my business out there.
Scholar
also-
Jeff likes to
Go
go
on,
both ways
tell
when
me
it comes
more.
to professional wrestling.
I like NXT and AEW.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Controversial.
But in all seriousness, I enjoyed AEW more just because of the freshness about it. NXT, while very, very good and had a lot of strong moments and matches, I felt like it was lacking a certain newness that really held my attention. I was really looking forward to everything that AEW was putting out there, including more of the elite and more of the people who I really haven't seen too much of. In particular, Rio and Nyla Rose, which I was impressed by. I had never seen Sammy Guevara before. Let's see, who else? Really, everything else was just as good as I was hoping, and everything was solid. The energy from the crowd was fantastic, which I think is really the only really blatantly bad thing that I think NXT had beneath AEW was AEW was coming to you from a very, very big arena with a whole lot of energy, and NXT was like a soundstage wrestling show. That, as again, it didn't hurt the in-ring wrestling any, but it did affect how much energy you felt from the crowd and from those in live attendance. So all in all, I am going to have to go with AEW winning this initial week. Not that it's the final word on anything by any means.
I mean, ratings, they've already won, so
yeah, it's
officially
they've
I
got my
guess.
attention, and they're all likely going to have my money on it on Wednesday nights. Fire away.
All right. So I started. I'm gonna piggyback and give you credit off something that I read that you posted. But I started off watching AEW. Thrilled that Cody and Brandy kicked off the show, just as it should have been. Amazing opening match. Then progressively throughout the night, started the switch, and AEW had its awesome matches, and my not gonna say loyalty, but respect for professional wrestling as a whole, wanted to be there for AEW's opening over NXT's this week, because it is a moment in professional wrestling history that Cody, the Young Bucks, Brandy, Omega all did this together, and look where they are now. You just have to respect that as a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I went on to watch NXT, and it hit me what Tarek posted. He said everyone's looking at this as the wars are here, the Wednesday night wars are here, but it gives us more professional wrestling to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes hand in hand with Mick Foley's statement that this is an amazing time to be a wrestling fan, because we aren't even through with the week now that we have Friday Night SmackDown returning, which will be over after this airs. But regardless,
Yes.
We're
taping this on Thursday night,
yes,
by the way.
we spoiler alert. We still get to watch and anticipate SmackDown tomorrow night, and to me, this is like New Year's for wrestling fans.
Oh yeah.
Because New Year's, Christmas, whatever you want to label it, because we are just getting our chock full of wrestling excitement, enjoyment, and then you got Hell in a Cell on Sunday. Like, what else could you possibly ask for aside from more matches for Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, that would always. Be good.
That would always help. But Tarek,
Yes.
So wait, what did you choose?
after watching NXT, I'm gonna sound like such a mark here, but I don't really care. Finn came back on NXT, so automatic points right there. Adam Cole wrestled on NXT, so amazing. And like you guys said, it was like a mini takeover. And when Ciampa came out at the end, I love Adam Cole, but I'd hate to be Adam Cole right now. And I popped like crazy when Finn and Ciampa showed. So I'm sorry, boys, but I feel NXT had the better showing.
No, you're not. Don't apologize for that. That's
All right. Fuck it. I'm not sorry.
You're still learning. You're the Sith.
Yeah,
you don't have to be sorry with your opinions.
Yeah, and as we said, NXT was the better wrestled show.
Mm-hmm.
It was, no doubt.
Ratings will show otherwise, but
the
in
most-
my opinion, I feel that
Yeah.
NXT.
What we're saying is that NXT was the better wrestled show.
Okay.
But AEW was
the
more
inaugural
important show.
moment. Yes.
And that's why this week, even if it wasn't the same quality as NXT, it still gets my vote for the better show just
Okay.
because of the history
Staple.
and the what he said, the energy of the crowd and all that, because it was the opening show.
Fool. What do you think?
My initial reaction was, well, in response to what you said, Fool, with the whole crowd reaction, I'm not going to lie. Yes, NXT may have had the smaller venue. What is it, Full Sail?
Yeah, I believe it was a Full Sail like always.
Yeah. Even though, yeah, it was at Full Sail, the electricity there, I still felt the electricity just as much as I did AEW. The crowds on both shows were totally amazing. Mm-hmm. It definitely helped. It definitely helped the vibe of both shows. And when it came to when I went to really look into this, yes, AEW had the bigger show because it was the debut show. It was the start of something new. But what I'm looking for is just what they give me as on the show. Mm-hmm. When it comes to wrestling, storytelling, and all that. And for me personally, I'm gonna go with NXT as well because it was the wrestling NXT's won over the wrestling show aspect of the whole thing for me. The one thing AEW has over it is the look of it. I loved the stage. I just love the presentation that AEW Dynamite Kick is bringing, and it's nothing taking away from NXT because they're at Full Sail and they're going to be there for just a little while longer before they start going into bigger venues. So, like I said, all I'm really going is for what they bring me in the wrestling show, and which show actually would bring me back. Like both shows succeeded in wanting me to tune in next week for both shows, but just the question on which one gave it to me more. And like with the return of Ciampa and Finn Balor, and compared to the return of Jack Hagar.
And how about that pop? He's never had that pop.
No,
and he's
really,
never had
and
that
he never
pop.
will again, to be quite honest.
For me, like when it came to Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and
Tony Schiavone?
I call him Tony Schiavone.
Hey,
I call him Tony
because of
Schiavone
reasons.
because that's just how I am. Tony Schiavone, Jimmy Ross and
Excalibur.
Excalibur. I'm like, how am I going to say this without just being Excalibur, as you put it?
You can't. You cannot.
Some things are just apparent.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, when they kept talking about looking back on WCW and just how things were, it took me out because it's just. I guess
damn it, Tony, shut up.
Well, Jim Ross was doing it too, so.
Yeah.
And it kind of took me out of it because it's pulling a me in the bad way as just living in the past and just kind of like thinking back instead of just looking on towards what the future brings for this brand. This isn't WCW, so stop thinking of it. So stop referencing WCW on it. Yes, because it's on TNT. Hopefully,
I'm hoping that it's just because it was the first show
on TNT in 20 years.
Yeah,
okay,
I will.
That's it.
But
I do have a counterpoint to that, though. If only because when I first started watching wrestling, it was with WCW. It was on TBS. It was during this whole time that was exactly being referenced. And it was, to me, because Nitro was my first wrestling show, to me, Tony Schiavone was like the first big announcer that I was exposed to before I started watching Jim Ross. So my gut feeling was I was all over this.
Okay,
I loved hearing Tony Schiavone. I loved hearing the throwbacks to like Nitro nostalgia. That being said, however, I feel like that had a place for it, and that was, it felt like someone was going to say something, but only on the first show.
That's one thing. Yes, I think it will go on the first show, and I'm glad it felt that way for you. You like you said, you watched Nitro.
I got the feels. I admit I did.
But I don't, because I was more of a Raw guy. So that's and like I said, it's fine. It's fine for you. You felt that electricity. It didn't work for me.
I get it.
So
it had its place. That's all I can say.
And with Jack Hagar coming back, it kind of felt like a TNA, like bringing in a former WWE mid-carder and trying to push him into the main event status. So there were certain aspects that just threw me off on it, and I'm not taking anything away from AEW. It was a great show. It really was. It makes me look forward to what's going to happen next week, especially with the tag team tournament. Tag team title tournament. So yeah. But when it came to just the bigger feel, the better wrestling better wrestling product, NXT really gave me that. And much more clearer wrestling, because it must have just been jitters, but there were plenty of botched moments on AEW. I guess that's just, like I said, it's probably just because it's the first show, so everyone's just feeling that jitter. So I'm not taking points away from that one. One of those things that I happen to notice. It makes me look forward to the first ever AEW Dynamite Botchamania.
There is no wrong or right in any of this. And this is what's great about all of this, is that we have more wrestling to discuss and debate and speak upon and be spectators of.
Yeah, because all four of us are always going to watch both shows.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter how bad or good it is.
And also, when it came to just all the matches, if I had to pick one match from both shows that just basically took my heart, it was the opening of NXT with Matt Riddle and Adam Cole.
Easy match.
Baby.
Easy match of
the
night.
It was match of the week.
I will
so
say,
far. I mean, unless they do something magnificent on SmackDown. And
it's
kind of funny.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because
except we don't even know what matches
it's match of the week, but what about, did anything on Impact happen? I don't know. Did anyone watch it? Anyone watch it Tuesday?
Sort of lost in the crosshairs on this one.
I know it has Tuesday all to itself. And I'm happy for Impact
Somebody
getting a
want to
TV
pull that up
deal.
on their cell phone? Impact results.
I'm happy that they have that TV deal, but does anybody have that TV network?
Oh,
what
I know.
What are they even on now?
AXS.
AXS TV.
I feel like that's another issue, though. Yeah. That they've been on so many different stations that even the try-hard, die-hard fans are like, do I have that station?
You're not wrong. However, I do have to say I'm very impressed with one thing in particular right now, and that is I was really expecting to see like a clean sweep just from the people on this panel right now. Just the fact that there's actually a fairly decent difference of opinion and a wide array of perspectives on all of this.
It's a great indication of what's to come.
Exactly. I think it's a tremendous indicator that I didn't expect to see, but I'm very glad that I'm seeing.
And continuing on that point, I actually I love the fact that WWE actually released that announcement congratulating AEW on their debut show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
it just came out today, I believe.
Yeah, it came out today. They congratulated them, and they just hope for, as they're calling it, the friendly rivalry marathon. But you know what?
How long will that stand?
Hey, both sides are saying this.
Not too
both sides
long.
are going. Really, the only people that are really pushing the whole Wednesday Night War aspect of this are the fans, because both WWE and AEW they throw
Cody
they throw
did
friendly
go on
jabs.
record saying that
They throw
that
friendly
wasn't
jabs
his
at
MO.
each other, but they're just doing it because they enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
And they're basically giving more to us. They're giving us alternatives, and the fact that they're just saying, "Well, you're a piece of shit. I hope you sink." That's not happening. I'm glad WWE actually does it. Congratulations on what they've accomplished, and hopefully
I'm
more
glad
down the road.
that-
This is a sprint. It's a marathon.
I'm
not a
glad
sprint.
that this isn't WWE versus WCW.
Yeah.
It's starting off not WWE versus WCW.
And I hope it stays that way, because I don't want I just want wrestling. I don't want war. Why can't we all just get along?
because that's
Because
boring.
that's not how the world works.
No, certainly not in 2019.
Well, especially not for wrestling fans, because they just bitch about everything. At least when it comes to people who host a show, we're trying to be as less biased as possible. We're just telling us how we feel about what we got, not just as some people post on Twitter. It's like,
WWE sucks.
we want the
AEW is
attitude. We want the
better.
attitude era back.
No.
Now we have Lana cheating on Rusev with
Don't-
Lashley. Oh, that's just goddamn stupid.
Does it grind your gears there, Peter?
Oh, to be fair, it is stupid. But
It was stupid
when I-
the first
when I
time. We're
when I
going to
point-
do it again. That's it.
I will point stupid stuff, but when they actually do something that's great, I will acknowledge it. Yowie wowie.
Yowie
Yowie
wowie.
wowie
Yowie
indeed.
wowie.
And AEW
Oh,
Dynamite
Bray
kick.
Wyatt.
Both shows
Get the thumb in the, yeah.
Both shows
Both shows get the thumb.
get the scholars thumbs up.
Now, having spoken about that, of course, this is a pay-per-view week, so that means
Weekend.
typically to pay-per-view weekend. So that, of course, means that this on the Scholars of Wrestling show means it's a prediction show. However, since we're recording this on Thursday, only 3 matches have been announced.
Okay, NXT is doing a good job with their product. The main roster set, the WWE aspect of it, they're good on building the matches they have, but just not what they're not building for anything else.
Unless
guess what?
SmackDown is the build-up show of the decade, I don't know
And
what
get-
we're gonna hear about
The
Hell in a Cell.
normal cruiserweight title match that you always
It's
get
gonna
on
be
the
on
pre-show
NXT.
is going to be on NXT, so we don't even have that to look forward to.
CBS, I was talking to Targ about this earlier. CBS put out their card for Hell in a Cell, and that was a match on it. And there were also, like, Revival versus New Day and all of this stuff that hasn't been announced yet, but CBS, who is in coordination with WWE, put out their card that WWE hasn't put out yet.
I will say there's one match that I really, really want to see. Actually, 2 matches, but one in particular that I have in mind is the Raw Tag Team Championship. Either AOP or the Viking War Raider Experience versus
I don't even know what's called it anymore.
Ziggler and Rude for the Raw Tag titles.
My
Well,
wife
I
and
don't
just
think
call them
it'll be
Vikings.
AOP because I want to see a couple more of those video packages.
It's
'cause
probably
they're
going to
just
be the
great.
Viking War Raider Experience.
But
And OC will probably interfere and cost them give them their first loss.
Anywho, let's talk about what we do
What
know
we do
of
have,
Hell in
yeah.
a Cell.
Yes. I'm sure that once more matches are announced, we will all be posting our extended predictions. But for right now, for the sake of the number one contendership between me and Scholar Tarek. And just for funsies, we're just going to strap ourselves in and we're going to put our predictions in for the 3 matches that we do know.
Wait.
Match card, 3 days away.
You're already the number 1 contender.
Oh, yeah, I am. Oh, yeah. I totally lost track of this. Wow.
Now, okay, we can do that.
No,
Because
no.
there's no...
Shut your whore mouth.
I think okay. That is once again proving the point that I made on Twitter this past week. Yeah, you two are going for the title, yet you two apparently aren't trying your best to actually build something on it, and you both.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Fool.
I'll just say one thing to that. Okay, when the WWE actually,
When AEW buys WWE,
when the WWE,
WWE,
when the WWE puts effort into building their pay-per-view cards, I will put effort into.
So
this.
you're putting just as lack effort in Scholars of Wrestling, and you're the Scholars of Wrestling champion. How dare you?
For shame.
How
All right.
dare you?
So,
For shame.
Fool! Take that belt off him just to show when you don't respect the Scholars of Wrestling, you do not deserve that gold.
Shame.
Gladly. Anyway, let's get right into it.
I love you, Brian, but that was not cool.
Let's get
shame
right
on you.
into
What kind of
then.
example are you guys setting for the Sid?
Do
Hey,
as we say.
I'm
not as
actually
we
doing
do.
my best to make this show actually worth a damn. And that's more than could be said than the guy holding Goldie over there. I actually just remembered
Maybe he
recently.
can also get in
I
the
actually
frame.
just remembered recently that Ciampa calls the NXT belt
yeah.
Goldie. So apparently,
So you know what?
oops. When I
I'm
named
going to
Goldie.
go for it. Let's dive right in, starting with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Champ, give it to us straight. Who do you got?
I am going with the obvious this time because let's face it, okay? Rowan has wins over Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan in the last couple weeks, okay? We are at the season premiere of each show, okay? We
Continue.
He said
clown
sit.
college over here.
He said sit.
You're gonna get more casual viewers in, so I feel like they're gonna go for obvious routes, at least for this week. They're not gonna go crazy and have surprises. And when you find out that this isn't a Hell in a Cell match, this is a regular tag team match. Whether the Bludgeon Brothers bludgeon too much and get DQ'd, or they just Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan are gonna walk out with the victory because Rowan has been booked like a monster the last 2 months. He's got wins over both Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns in the last 3 weeks, and seems like it's time for them to get their win back.
Yeah, in this particular case, I'm actually going to agree with you. Just due to the timing, if Eric Rowan didn't pick up a win during the last big show, yeah, I'm going to have to go with that. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan are going to pick this one up. Mr. Sit, you're next up.
Sit on your face.
Is that what you were sitting on?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just sitting on just what everyone's predicting, and I got
Anyhow.
a bad feeling about this.
Anyhow, it's funny you say that because out of the 3 matches that were out of the 3 matches that are on the card 3 days away from the pay-per-view, I can't even say that with a straight face. This was the toughest one for me to predict. I do feel that Luke Harper has just we know he's just recently returned derp, but and is making quite an impact. Eric Rowan is on a roll. So
Impact.
when is the last time are you ever going to hear Eric Rowan on a roll? But I thought them at first, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I do feel bad about this, by the way. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns for the win.
Okay, Fool, that means it's up to you now.
It's actually funny that you bring up Luke Harper because not even 2 weeks after he came back, he's already found something to bitch about on social media about him not getting a shirt. When there's wrestlers who actually have not been on TV, any WWE TV, who have gotten shirts. So it's kind of, and it's been revealed that he has not re-signed with WWE. So with that being said, I am going to.
He's got to work on a few things, doesn't he?
I'm also gonna go with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, and it's gonna be Luke Harper eating the pin, because one, this is Eric Rowan's push storyline, and I just feel like Luke Harper is gonna get punished for what he said on social media and the fact that he's not re-signed.
No, you can't have a shirt.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, you can't have a shirt, take a spear, and a running knee.
Probably a running knee turns around into a spear.
I do want to see his alligator roll.
I will
miss
point
that
this
so
out.
much.
Yeah.
I will point this out, though. The fact that the Bludgeon Brothers are the top heels on SmackDown.
They're no longer the Bludgeon Brothers.
No, they
will
still
always
are.
They're
be.
two dudes that were heavy metal teams.
They will always be.
It's
Alright.
Luke Harper and Eric Rowan who were the Bludgeon Brothers. They are the top heels of SmackDown. When they debuted as the Bludgeon Brothers, I thought these.
I know
it's gonna be
marked
these.
Out like,
I marked out like crazy, and I'm saying these guys are gonna go places. And when you know, I said they were gonna win the tag titles. Everyone thought I was crazy. They guess what? They won the tag titles. I said they're gonna be pushed to the moon, and guess what? They're the top heels of SmackDown Live. I think that's a good push to the moon.
I think that works.
Taking on the face of the company and, the returning of the Yes Movement, I guess.
I hope.
And having wins
And
over both of them. But
it's
time.
kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal, but it's time to get that win back.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Then moving on, we have Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship.
Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure I'm not getting anything wrong this time. In
that
Hell in a
is the
Cell.
championship that Becky Lynch holds. Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
It's 2 Raw matches and 1 SmackDown match announced.
Yes.
So yes.
So who's up next?
You are.
challenger.
Okay.
It's in the order of how we're sitting
All
for,
right,
and
all
the
right.
champ started first, and we're on the second match. Who do you think is next?
Okay. I just want to be sure because
Sassy.
yes, Here's my point, though.
Hey man, I gotta try and be as sassy as I can because they have the
gotta
title
be.
match, and yet
You
you
gotta
look
be a
at me.
sassy boy.
Like they have the title match. I'm doing my best to make sure Hell in a Cell leaves a nice impact. Leave my mark on Hell in a Cell
Pun intended.
That's
because
okay.
they have
That's
the
all right.
title match, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to
All right.
just put something, stamp my mark. Scholar Tard.
You have fun with that.
Yeah, trust me, I will.
All right,
I will.
Ladies,
Can
let
Can
Jeff
I get
speak.
to my prediction and rationale?
You don't have the right to tell us to let the man. We can say
The Sid
All right.
can't talk.
you
Not
haven't
yet.
earned that yet. So thank you. We'll tell you when it's okay to talk.
No one puts Charlie in a corner.
He's
But
not
we
in
just
a
did.
corner.
Yeah.
He's not in
Exactly.
In the middle of a man's sandwich.
And you love it. In all
Oh, jeez.
seriousness, in
Anywho.
all complete seriousness, because I thought long and hard about this.
Oh,
Phrasing.
I know.
oh my.
Space phrasing.
Oh my.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
if any match deserves phrasing, it's this one.
Oh.
Oh.
Brian. Oh.
Because here.
Oh my.
I'm just gonna stay.
Goodness gracious.
I'm just gonna stay in
Goodness
Corey Graves
gracious.
mode over here.
Wise. However, I thought about this, and because
Long and
I
hard.
think I know, strictly implied, because I know how, Brian, your prediction is going to go here, and because I think there's a chance that this could go a different way, I'm going to go Sasha Banks.
Long and hard.
I think there's a strong possibility that this could be the point where Sasha Banks retains her
regains.
stop. No, he's
Oh.
gonna retain her stop or spot at the top of the card as
Let it
a
out.
heel.
I like how he assumes where I'm going with my pick
Who?
and thinks
Oh.
with all of his being that he's made a different choice.
And again, I have a bad feeling about these predictions, man. At least for these 3 matches.
Well, if you get these 3 wrong,
Damn.
no other are announced. You fucked. A spade's a spade, and we're all idiots. And we get 0-3 on a 3-match pay-per-view.
Mr. Sit, tell us what you think.
Sasha Banks.
He knows.
No, because I feel like, and this is me saying this, and I'm a huge advocate of Becky's movement and everything that she's done, but I just feel like Sasha Banks deserves it. There, I said it, Jamels.
Cool.
I wouldn't say that Sasha Banks deserves it because, she walked out. Even though there was...
Did you watch her Chronicle?
Honestly, I did not.
Watch her Chronicle
I
and then talk to me.
Watch it
Okay,
closely.
well, I will watch it, but it's still... I still
No,
have,
no, I know.
I still
You're
have that
getting
feeling
sassy.
how I still have that feeling.
I'm not getting sassy. I watched her Chronicle.
He's giving me an advice because I do
I
believe
felt
the Chronicle
empathetic. I felt empathetic towards Sasha Banks watching the Chronicle.
because they explained why she left.
Yes.
Right? Okay, because I did hear that. So
Yes.
he gave me a suggestion, and I am acknowledging it. There is
Stop
no
trying to make this family fight.
Charlie, I'm having
No,
your
I'm
back.
talking to Brian.
But I'm having your back on this.
Okay.
And yet you decide to cut me off and yell at them.
How dare you?
Thank you. With that being said, I don't think she deserves this, but I do believe to actually gain momentum in her return and her basically push to the stars. She kind of has been pushed kind of meh since her and Bayley teamed up. But with that being said, I'm going to predict Sasha Banks as well because she doesn't deserve it, but she needs it.
Can I speak?
You made your prediction.
I'm also a giant fan of Runaways, CM Punk. So,
Okay.
I like Punk too, so
Okay.
Sasha Banks,
I can't.
CM Punk, they ran away. I still love them.
Oh, okay.
Sasha, I still think she's kind of overrated, but that's just me.
Here's the deal.
I know people we know that would
Lay it down,
disagree
champ.
with me, but
Here's the deal. I believe that Fox wants Becky Lynch on SmackDown.
I thought you were going to say Alicia Fox. I'm like, what the
And
The champ's on something tonight.
And in going with that, I am going to buck Jeff's expectations. And yes, I am also going with Becky Lynch. With Sasha Banks.
wait,
Wait.
Write it on paper. He put Becky Lynch.
I'm not going to
Too
do
late.
it.
Too late.
I'm
Jeff
not
is
going
putting
to do
the
it.
mind games in Brian.
After he didn't even
I'm
know he's
not
not
putting
blocked
it
the
down.
pen.
I'm not putting it
I
down.
blocked the pen before he could. Sasha Banks.
We all heard it. Becky Lynch is his initial
Sasha
pick.
Banks.
Sasha.
Becky.
I'm watching you.
You spell Sasha B-E-C-K-Y.
Sasha, yes, see Sasha.
Thanks.
Okay, let's just go to the main event.
Sasha Banks.
And
win
I
the
will
title.
disagree with what McFoley posted that this should close the show. No, this
No.
should not close the show.
We're not-
The
Yeah.
next match should close
Yeah.
the show.
Because
Yeah.
you need that lasting image at the end of the show. Because let's face it, we're all going 0-4 again.
Yes.
We're not. Yeah,
on
we're
this one.
Let's just do it the right way.
I think Seth knows.
On
We're
3.
Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Let's say it
The
on
Fiend.
3. 1, 2, 3. Bray
Bray
Wyatt.
Wyatt.
the Fiend.
The Fiend,
If
Bray
you're
Wyatt.
feeling lonely today, come along and throw your cares away. We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.
And yes, Fiend wins. It will be fantastic.
It really does not matter because, like what you said, Fox wants the Fiend on SmackDown, really, really bad. I think this is going to be the one thing where there's going to no,
but
we need stars on Raw.
Yeah,
and Bray is going to take over Monday Night Raw.
He already has begun.
They'll probably put Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where this is going.
Probably.
So, in that case, they both need to lose their titles.
And you know what? Not for nothing. Even if that's the rationale for it, it makes so much more sense that this is how you solidify a brand new star, a brand new act. It's not to mention, this is a show in October. The Fiend as champion in the month of October.
Right.
It just makes sense. It just makes sense.
No matter what happens, Bray needs to walk out of that show as champion. No bullshit finishes like they did last year. No, he cannot be pinned. No matter, the only logical way for this show to end is with Bray Wyatt holding the Universal Championship.
And being extremely creepy in the process.
If he does not, if he ends up leaving the show without the belt in any way, shape, or form, it will hurt his big momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Because
not with the fans, but just with what he's doing. He deserves it. He needs it. He has to win. There's no option. There's no other option.
Yeah, they booked themselves into a corner here.
Let him in, WWE. You want to.
Everyone, let him in.
Yes.
He's already
sell those t-shirts.
He's legitimately got the most buzz in the WWE right now because of Sunday Night Football. Everyone who wasn't, people who were just watching the football game, have nothing to do with WWE, casual fans, saw that commercial on Sunday Night Football and Bray Wyatt and the Fiend took over the ending, and then it cut right into the halftime show, and people were on Instagram and all that going like, what the fuck was that?
People have posted videos of them watching Sunday Night Football, and then a WWE commercial comes on and it ends with the Fiend flashing on the screen for a second, and people are basically posting their response going, what is that?
I gotta see this.
And it's casual people.
I've seen like 3 or 4 different videos.
And it's casual people, not WWE fans. Just based on that alone, he needs to be the face of your company.
He needs to be the face of one of your brands. And
especially during Halloween, this is how you introduce him to a mainstream audience. They'll be like, oh, hey, who is this?
Yeah.
This is how you make a next generation Undertaker. This is exactly how you do it.
And this is how you make
the birth of a new legend.
He's it's around Halloween. He's the DLC pre-order for 2K20. Everything is looking
coming up
right.
His masks,
everything's coming up Millhouse.
His masks are selling out. His Firefly Funhouse box are selling out. He is when he fed the money to Vince McMahon puppet.
That was great.
Which I'm still convinced storyline wise that is Mr. McMahon. And Bray Wyatt basically abducted the Mr. McMahon character and basically have him forever be a prisoner in Firefly Funhouse. That's just my headcanon.
They're like already branding more items than Kiss with the Fiend here.
Yeah,
so
it's
all
win-win
selling
situation.
like hotcakes. So
yeah, my biggest fear on this prediction show came true in all for these 3 matches.
However, again...
Brian has Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship.
No, I do not.
However, of course, if more matches are indeed announced...
We're not going to have 3 one-hour matches!
There could be not announced...
You're going to have R-Truth run around for like 45 minutes.
Point being, as more matches are announced... We will post our full prediction cards right before the show in question.
Yes.
For our full, complete, official entries. So that's the serious answer. That being said, however, now is the time of the show where we turn it over to you, our wrestling listening and viewing audience. What do you think? Who won in the first round of the Wednesday Night Wars? Who's going to walk away as winner, champion? Who else at Hell in a Cell?
Who will leave the bigger impact of the Scholars of Wrestling on Hell in a Cell weekend?
We turn it over to you. So reach us all across the internet, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you can find us, especially on our own personal Twitter accounts, starting with @ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads. Champ, where can reach you?
You can find me yelling at every challenger I've ever had at Atomic Beanpole.
You can find me at I'm Robbie Rage.
You can find me on the Twitter machine, CHARELEEM. For whatever reason, I tried putting my gamer tag of Charlie Monroe, but it ended up Charleem on Instagram.
You could have just said Charleem.
on Twitter.
Why did you have to spell it out?
Because Charleem could be spelled CHARLEEM.
Charlie, you're a sit about to be a scholar. Your Twitter tag is going to be in the description of these videos from now on.
Oh,
so
all right. I didn't know that.
So now, you spelled it out. You get one.
And Fool, of course, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at the Avataric.
So, we got another big week in the books. Now, we prepare for Hell in a Cell. Because let's face it, you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all at Hell in a Cell.